Okay, so here's where we left off. I did a demonstration of Qualtrics, the free survey tool that you have access to. That screencast is posted. It involved a Likert scale, which is a special case of interval data. Likert scales tend to go from 1 to 5 or 1 to 7, typically an odd number because they have that neutral point in the middle. And you can see that example that's posted. Okay, so let's look at a few questions to kind of sum up the material. Time series or cross-sectional. The number of skiers on the mountain on Christmas Day 2010 at each of the ski mountains owned by Vail Resorts. Notice how I'm not looking at over time. I'm just looking at Christmas Day 2010. So even though I have a bunch of different ski mountains, ski resorts, I'm not looking at a bunch of different times. So I'm not looking at something over time. So that would be cross-sectional. And let's look at the case for Chapter 1 and how we can make certain decisions based on the data. So in the tween survey, they asked about radio station, preferred radio stations. So notice that that's not a numerical variable. It would be a category. So like KISS 101.1, KISS 108, something like that. And so notice also there's not really a rank structure to it. I'm not saying one's better than the other, or there's no ranking in terms of what you listen to first or second. So that would be a category with no rank. So that would be nominal. The food quality rating question asked about, whether the food was poor, fair, good, or excellent. And this is another example of a categorical variable. But this time rank does have meaning. Poor does mean that it's worse than fair. Excellent does mean that it's better than fair. So it's still a category, but we have now an ordinal variable. Remember, first question to ask, is it a category or number? And then you can eliminate based on that. So what time the dining area should close? Time is an interesting variable. So if I'm actually talking about like amount of time, that would be ratio. But if I'm talking about the time in terms of like 3:30, 4 o'clock, 4:30, the zero is arbitrary. So it's basically interval data. So actual time is interval, whereas amount of time would be ratio. And when you think about it, it makes sense. Amount of time, zero time, literally means there is no time. So an amount of money is going to be ratio data. It's numerical, and in terms of whether it's interval or ratio, I decide based on whether there's a meaningful zero or not, and there is a meaningful zero. If they put zero, it literally means they did not spend any of their own money. So decisions based on this: I want to advertise on the radio station that's most popular. I want to hire a better chef because the food just isn't very good according to these tweens. I may want to change the time that the dining area closes. And I also am kind of, excited about how much money of their own they're spending. So maybe consider having more options for tweens to purchase at the ski resort, maybe even the gift shop, or consider them when I consider food items for sale. Okay, and that is it for Chapter 1.